Welcome back to the Wild West Fixed Ops Roundtable. This is the panel everyone has been waiting for. It is the AutoMax TechVengers Technicians panel, led by none other than Joe Lockard from AutoMax Recruiting. Joe, Happy New Year and welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. Same to you. Thanks as always for having me here. I think it's our seventh time through this, so always uncovering new topics, finding new nuggets for the industry, and I apologize for not having my hat and gear. Next time, I will be on theme next time.
All right, well,
making a promise.
I got my Tully button on, and Tully, we're raring to go for you. You got a lot of superstars here, Joe. Marco is on here, Coralie, Robert Miggs, Sir Sean Kingery is with us tonight, Mike Weldon, and Lister. Joe, I'll let you do all the honors. I'm going to step out of the way, and I'll let you get things rolling.
Thanks, Ted. Appreciate it. Yeah, I want to go around real quick and just a real fast intro of everybody. Obviously, we got a lot to talk about here, and I know we all have a lot to say. So first, I did want to introduce, we have a new member on the panel tonight, Coralie Zueff. Coralie, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Coralie is a master service advisor, best-selling author of 5-Star Service Advisor, and she provides automotive service consulting and coaching through her company, The Passing Lane. Welcome. Thanks. Did I miss anything?
I think that's everything.
Okay. All right. Yeah. This is our first time meeting. I'm reading through the bio, and I'm like, man, should I go through all of it or just highlights? But no, it's a pleasure having you here, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. We don't need to go back 20 years.
Sure we do. That's fun. Go start at the beginning. No, thanks again. Next, Sean Kingery. Sean, what is going on, my friend?
Welcome from sunny, snowy, whatever you want to call it, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
and for the record, Joe, my hat is in my stable, which is in my office, by the way.
I heard.
And on the way here, it got a little snowy, and I thought, you know what? I'm not doing it. So, no hat tonight.
Well, I was going to ask you. So, Sean's VP of Fixed Operations for the Kaiser Automotive Group up around Madison, Wisconsin area, which is your old stomping grounds. How's life? It's been a while since you've suffered through a Wisconsin winter. How's it going?
It's been about 7 years since I lived, or 6.5 years since I lived in Florida. It's good. Listen, it's January and it's rainy, snowy out. I got a couple more months of this. I figure late March I'll be able to get the Hellcat out and enjoy it again.
Nice. Thanks as always for being here, man. I appreciate it. Next, Robert Migliaccio, Service Director for CMA Valley Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram in Stanton, Virginia. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Just like the guys, my hat was left here in the Wild West out back. Got to go back to the saloon, I guess, and get it. So.
You got the nice backdrop going on, though. I should have thought of that.
I got to participate some way if I don't have a hat.
Right. How are things at CMA? Good group you guys got down there.
CMA is doing great. Just keep growing, and we just keep getting bigger and bigger. And we're just doing awesome all the way around. It's great.
Good to hear. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Next, Marco Zwanenberg, our very own automotive technician of the stars, 20+ years experience, currently down at Naples Luxury Imports. What is up, my man?
Life is good on the Paradise Coast, people. I mean, the weather's beautiful. January in the sun. Can't beat it, right? Busy as can be. We're growing. We're doing great. And great to be on this panel again. Good to see you guys. And let's do this.
Good, man. Thanks for being here. Always a blast. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Next up, Michael Weldon. Michael is Fixed Ops Director for the Hansel Automotive Group in Santa Rosa, California. How are you, sir?
Just fine. Thank you for having me back.
I feel like the hat's this is like an everyday thing for you, right? I feel like we've seen this hat before. Am I wrong?
No, this is the first time I worked. I've had it for years, but I decided to wear it because it keeps the sun off my head or keeps the rain off my brow. So it works just fine in any weather.
It suits you. It works.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us. Next, Tully Williams, Fixed Ops Director at the Nilo Company. Tully, how are you?
Howdy, y'all, from the out west out here where it's raining and windy, which is very unusual for us. Poor Mike and I are trying to stay dry out here. I'd love to be on this panel. Super excited. Texts are the reason why we sell all those great hours, my friend.
That is correct. And thanks as always for bringing the energy. I appreciate having you here. And last but not least, Ann Lister has rejoined us. We missed you last time around, Ann. How are you?
I know. Glad to be back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, wasn't the same without you. Ann is service manager at the Williams Auto Group up around Elmira, New York, correct?
Upstate New York, where it's not Marco's weather, so I'm a little upset about that.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. Well, let's like I said, we got a lot to go over. I want to jump in. This is our seventh panel, and we've dug in on a lot of stuff. And you know, it starts getting a little bit harder to come up with fresh material. And obviously, once we get the ball rolling, I know we're always able to contribute our perspective. I want to go into something that's come up here and there on the previous six panels, and on the surface, it can sound a little mundane, a little trivial, but from my experiences, it has a huge impact on both technician recruiting and technician retention, which is kind of, you know, for our purposes, what we like to assist with in any way possible. I can tell you, in my experience, owning a recruiting company, recruiting technicians myself, we lose a lot of quality technicians due to slow and inefficient onboarding processes. So I'd like to take some time, do a deep dive on our experiences with the onboarding process as it pertains specifically to technicians. We can expand it to the entire service department, but techs being kind of the unique animal that they are, I'd really like to dig in there as much as possible. And for the purpose of this conversation, we can look at onboarding as, you know, from all the way you're in an interview and it's okay, this is our tech, I need to make this happen, up through really, you know, that first month where you actually have someone who feels like they're part of the team and you know, has learned all the nuances of how you run a shop. A few talking points that I figure we can get to here, and then I'll kick it around the room, and of course we'll play off each other and contribute our own experiences here. Some of the things we've seen that can cause a logjam here and cause you to lose good hires: lack of communication between, you know, it could be internally between HR and between a service manager, between the dealership or the service department and the candidate themselves. Lack of electronic onboarding, pencil and paper stuff can really slow you down at times. Not helping out getting the toolbox over there. You guys know well enough that when the toolbox is there, the tech's there. I mean, that's kind of it. You get the toolbox over there, and it's kind of seals the deal. Slow to make offers, not making counter offers, slow to process drug and background, unwillingness to really kind of be flexible. I mentioned that techs are a bit of a unique animal, so we obviously have to kind of do things that we don't normally do for other candidates, I'll say. But all those really, you know, you kept hearing slow come up there. The main thing, the main point that I want to get across and that I see a lot of is that time kills hires, time kills deals, time kills hires. And the longer it takes to get from that, let's do this, mutual agreement from both sides, to actually having them there and working, tends to hurt the odds of getting that tech and having them be a long-term member of your team. I want to start, Corley, I'm going to start with you. Obviously, you know, you're the newbie here, so I'm going to you first. And you also bring a unique perspective, you know, from you've been inside service departments, you're an advisor, which we've never had on the panel before. And then in your work with your clients, consulting and coaching, you are then applying some of the things that you've picked up from your tremendous experience within the service department and advising them. What's some of the good, bad, and ugly that you've seen in regard to onboarding?
I was kind of thinking, like, you know, after the process has taken place, and even when the technician has their box that's arrived at the shop, and then when it comes down to getting them up to speed, getting passwords, making sure they know where everything is, like that can drag on, and it can definitely be discouraging for somebody who's starting off new. And you know, what if they made a good for being there? If everything isn't efficient, like set out in process, this is how we do things, this is where everything is. If they're still wondering days after being there, it can have them second guessing it for sure.
You bet.
And then that was efficient, no, for them and for us.
Right. Yeah. Time again. Right. And shame on me. I said 30 days. This shouldn't take 30 days for them to feel like a member of the team. That stuff should be done in place. They should know who they're reporting to. When they start official that first day, it shouldn't be, what do I do? Where am I going? They need to be producing, especially when you talk about your higher level technicians, that first day. So you're absolutely right. It starts before they even get there on that first official day.
Yeah, and too, like the most recent place I was at, they had a female technician starting, and she'd been there for a month, and then we just figured out that she isn't being as efficient because she's not getting as much access to the information that she needs. So it's a shame that we had to wait a month to figure that out.
Yep. Yep. And
Like,
you know,
couldn't she
something
have
we
access
said.
to the laptop and procedures for doing things?
Yeah, and a big phrase for us is, you know, and this usually applies to the sales side, but I see so many, you know, just correlations between variable side and fixed side. We say, did you hire them dead or did you kill them after you got them? And a lot of times that first day is it. You know, they might hang around for the 30 days, but if that first day, first week, and the whole onboarding process has left a sour taste in their mouth, you may have already lost them. Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you. I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying, and starting them hit the ground running that first day there. Tully, I want to come to you. Tully, I feel like the last few panels we've done, not on purpose, I saved you to the end, and it looks like your head's about to explode by the time I get to you. So I want to get it out there now and let you run wild. What's your walk us through your guys' process? Maybe, you know, you've been doing this for a while.
I think it starts where if we get a lead, when Joe sends us a lead, how soon do we call? It's in minutes when we call. Feel that person out of the phone, get them in the door is crucial. There's no negotiating. There's no I'll get back to you. You make decisions today, right? Get them in the shop. Get the foreman over there. Get the GM to introduce himself to that person. Make him feel the culture at your store. Make sure they're in that now. That is the key issue. When they feel good in the hiring process, they'll feel good working at your store. So, is your techs ready for success? Show them what people are doing, how many hours they're producing, how much money they're making. Show them the pathway to their success. If they start as an hourly or a basic technician, tell them how much money and hours and time it takes to get to the top. Top is $57 here at the Needle Company. How can they get up there? How can they make money, more money for them and their family? This is a huge deal. Now, the day they come and get hired, that person needs to have the same atmosphere. Welcome, hello. Here's your buddy. Here's all of the passwords. Here's the parts counter guy. Here's how you use the software we're using today. They have to feel good day one on the interview. They need to feel even better day one when they're working.
Absolutely. Yeah, that feeling's got to carry forward. They don't want to feel like they were sold on something, and the Tully that they saw during the interview isn't the Tully that they're seeing here on day one. You know, my dad used to always say, throw them a party, throw them a party. And, you know, it was hyperbole, but the point stands. Make them feel like it's a big deal that they're there that first day, that first week, and carry that energy from the interview and the recruiting process forward into their, you know, starting and adjustment period.
Because, you know, when they start off, you know, if you have a newbie, that's a different story. But if you have a technician that's coming over, you know, his whole problem is that he has a family to feed. He has, you know, he's a little worried. He doesn't know what he's going to get. I mean, especially if they're changing brands. Even if you go from Benz to, you know, of course, the ultimate driving machine of BMW, it is a different thing. It is different. Yeah. Make it exciting. Make it exciting for the technician, because he needs to feel good. Because if he starts off wrong, the relationship is scarred for a long time if you can't turn around. Sure. We have to make them successful. That first couple paychecks need to be whoppers, or we need to guarantee some hours for them. We'll guarantee your work hours for those first couple of months, or whatever what we feel is necessary. We have no problem doing that. We have to make them successful. Success is the key.
Well, and like you said, come loaded with, you know, if not an offer, it depends on the level of technician. You got somebody coming in that you know is a big time tech, you do have to have that offer ready and know what
here's the deal. We open up the sheet. Here's the sheet. Here's the path. Sure. What certification? Okay. Oh, that's $48, and you can go up to $57 if you want to do this. There's no negotiating. Right. It's all there in writing. And here it is. And there's no like, oh, well, could I squeeze another buck out of this guy? We don't need to know that. I want to show everybody, our current techs and new techs, where they are in the pathway. Let's be honest. Oh my God, what a concept. Show them the path to 57.
Yep. I'm with you, sir. All right. Thank you, Tully. Appreciate it. Marco, I want to come down to you there. Obviously, you've been at Naples for a while now. How many years?
13.
Okay. Can you go all the way back and think to your first day and your interview and your first week and walk us through that and why it worked as opposed to possibly some other places that you had spoken to?
Well, I've mentioned this before. Like when I went on interviews, I have said no to various places simply because they would not let me talk to the other technicians.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the first big no-no. Show me the transparency. I want to see your. Don't tell me what you can promise me. I'm still blind from all these golden mountains as I've been promised. I never saw them. But show me the numbers for that day, that week, the last month. Show me the numbers. We're tangible. That's what we do every day. We work with stuff right in front of us. We're logical. Don't give me promises. Make it a
Right.
good first date. Here's one thing that sets a dealership apart, besides all the points that were mentioned by Coralie and by Tully, which are excellent. What about the other part of our life? Like Tully mentioned, like family to feed. Well, if they're moving from out of state or out of town, does HR or the service director or manager have contacts with realtors, with apartment complexes? What do we know about school zones?
Yep.
How can we help these people transplant their entire family in a lot of cases and help them outside of work as well? Because
Right.
it's all fine and dandy if the dealership is great, we're making great money, but if the family isn't happy, we don't know where to live, we don't know where to go to school, doesn't matter. So it
Right.
goes a lot further than that.
And that's another one, speaking of speed, and we'll have that come up a lot with us, especially when it comes to OEM level technicians. More and more often than not, going to be pulling them from out of town. And it's great to get a verbal commitment or even an on paper commitment from somebody. But when you have that 30, 60 days and you know it's going to be a while before they can get there, they can find a house, they can get the family there, a lot can happen in those 30 to 60 days. If you already know ahead of time, this person's coming from out of town. And like you said, let's talk to some local realtors, some landlords who's got maybe a second property where they can stay. Try to get them in there immediately and put them up somewhere until they can find something more permanent. That's a great point.
Get an extended stay suite at a corporate rate.
Sure.
How hard
Right.
is it to do? Just make sure that you want to invest in these people. These people come with a family. These people come with a life outside of work.
Right.
Help them with that. That will set you apart. That will really speak volumes to me.
Right. Absolutely. Do you remember your first day?
Oh, absolutely.
What
Every,
walk us through the first day. And butterflies, did you feel good first immediately as soon as you walked in the first hour? How'd you feel?
First hour, I was nervous because I
Hmm.
did move my family from Atlanta down to Florida.
Right.
So yes, I've been here, I've flown over and I checked it out and I talked to the people. So, but still the first day you're like, oh my gosh, did I make the right choice? Am I going to be able to? But no, immediately everybody was friendly. I got the help from management. I got a guarantee for the first X amount of weeks.
Right.
Then once I changed from the Star to JLR, of course, I was local, so I knew everything. But from day one, all my passwords worked. I had access to email, the OEM website. Within a week, I had uniforms. Let's not forget about those uniforms.
Yeah.
Some places it takes 60, 90 days to get uniforms. At that point, I'm like, who's reimbursing me for what I have to buy myself now?
Right.
But
Well, and just feeling
places
like you
like that,
matter and feeling like you're part of the team. And that speaks, you were at that point already a very experienced technician. And even you are
correct.
nervous on your first day on the job here. So going back to what Tully said about feeling, you want them to feel good about it. The job isn't done. You may have closed them on the interview. They may have accepted. They may have put the toolbox there. Feelings overcome all that. If it doesn't feel right your first week there, you could lose somebody in a hurry. So knowing that regardless of how experienced someone is, anytime you're starting at a new place of employment, a new career, just exploring, like you said, a new brand, it's going to be a transition. You're going to need support and you're going to need to feel like you have some people behind you.
Absolutely. And that's what I had on both occasions. But as I said too, it's like I've said no to places that could potentially make me a lot of money. I just
Yeah,
didn't feel right about it.
right. All right, sir. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, Sean, I'm coming over to you. obviously you're in a new role now, and we talked about it a little bit here recently that you do have the opportunity. You've been given the reins to come in, look things over, make some changes where you feel it would benefit the group as a whole. I know from our relationship, you've also have some experience in larger groups, and in some of these larger groups is where we tend to see some of the things that I mentioned: the lack of communication, HR kind of putting things into black and white terms when it comes to onboarding. When we all know when it comes to text, there's a lot of grays there, and there's a lot of adjustments that need to be made if you want to get somebody on and get them started. Going through your whole career loop here and talking about some of those old experiences and some of your new experiences, what are some things that you've picked up over the years?
It's funny, and I think it came from Marco, probably in episode 4 or 5, whatever we were in recording, and it's sunk in. There's a lot of things Marco has said that has sunk in. The technician makes their decision in the first 3 or 4 days how they're going to do with the place. And when I say that, Joe, in my previous life, and I won't mention the name, an import brand, we knew we had a cancer in the shop. And I know that's a horrible analogy, but it's a term that we all use. We knew we had it. We knew it was there. And we through Joe, did a great job, found us great candidates. And guess what? Surprise, surprise, the cancer still ran them off. So that being said, Joe, what do you learn? You learn you can't have the cancers. You can't have them. If you know they're there, going through all the recruiting and paying all the money and relocation, everything you do, it isn't going to change. The cancer is still going to be there. That negative attitude is going to be there. So the first things first, you got to fix your own house. Call it what it is. If the laundry's dirty, you got to throw it out. All right.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson learned. We tried it, Joe. We failed. My fault. I own that. Okay. But as far as with the new one, and as we're moving forward to get together with you again, you're a new commodity for this group because they've never had that. They've never had to do that. Where I come to a group that has no turnover. They have 40-year technicians, but now they're starting to realize those 40-year technicians are starting to look a little bit like Marco. They're kind of getting older, right? I had to do it.
Man.
But they're getting older, and we're getting there, and that's the point that we're at. Okay. And they're opening their doors, they're opening their eyes to changes and processes and everything else. You have to open your doors to it, and they're experiencing the same things. If you've got that old 40-year tech back there that's a problem, you got to address it first. Because no matter how good you are, Joe, you're going to bring in the next guy, and they're going to poison them, and you can't have it. Because again, Marco's taught us a lot. Tully, Robert, we've all talked about this, and I know Mike, you've been on a lot of these. Is everybody's got to be involved from the GN back, and I'm talking. I happen to work for 3 dealer principals that are extremely accessible. If you bring somebody new in, what's it cost to walk them through and say hello? Everybody's got to know everybody's name. They have to know that everybody's bought in. They have to know that they're valuable. And for God's sake, show them the career path on day one. Show them there is a career path. You're not just another number. I happen to work around a bigger group that's here where I'm in the Midwest, and they have a lot of stores. And, when I'm meeting these technicians that are coming in as the reputation is starting to change quickly and that we're paying a little more, the number one complaint, I have no career path. I'm stuck what I'm doing. I can't go anywhere. I'm doing the same thing every single day, and there's nowhere to go.
Right. And we've talked about it repeatedly on here, and it's funny how it applies to so many things: recruiting, retention, and now talking about it with onboarding. You mentioned the veteran technicians, and you mentioned that where you're at now, they've been doing it right for so long, but it doesn't matter how long you do it right. At some point, there's going to be a changing of the guards, and you guys are if not in-store leaders, you're over the entire group leaders, but you've spent time in a shop, running a shop, and that your time is extremely precious and valuable and divided. It's invaluable to have vets that are 30 years bought into that group and want nothing more than to help see the group continue to succeed, and are going to spend time with new technicians and onboarding them. And it doesn't have to be green technicians. This could be, like I said, someone who's every shop is different. So it doesn't matter what certifications, what experience they have. You're going to be doing things a little bit different than what they're used to. And for them to spend some time the first week, the first month with someone who's been there for 30 years, I mean, like I said, invaluable. There's no substitute for that.
God forbid in the first week you take them out for lunch. How's it going the first week? And they're going to tell you where the problems are, especially if they're a seasoned guy. Take them to lunch, get them out of the environment, take the shop foreman with you. Again, we've talked about, I think, in session 1, I will never hire or fire a technician without the shop foreman being involved. They're working with that shop foreman day in, day out. They have to be integrated. Take them to lunch. Let's talk about it. If Billy in the corner is the cancer causing the problem, then go smack Billy right across the face and figure it out.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. And you discover a lot bringing in, I know there's a lot of fear in bringing in new technicians, and you put all this money into training them and hiring them. But like you just said, you hear a lot. And I love the idea of first week check-in, first month check-in. You bring someone outside who hasn't been working in the shop and hasn't, kind of melded to the culture. And you're going to say, well, I noticed this, you guys do it this way. So I think it's very important to keep that line of communication open that first, trial period, if you want, the first week, first month. And I appreciate the kind words too. We're looking forward to get started for you guys. From what I hear, they're an exceptional group, and obviously with you in charge, I'm sure it'll be even better.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And we come to you.
Hello.
Hello. What say you? What's your experience? You guys, we've talked, and we're all fixed ops people here, and we're talking fixed ops stuff. But the other side of this coin is HR, and they have HR stuff, and there's rules and there's regulations. There's things that need to be done.
Yeah.
What's your guys' relationship like with HR?
So here's a huge frustration, especially in New York State, because in New York State, we drug test, and they made marijuana legal. So what happened is it slowed down the whole process. So you find a candidate you like. Step one is do a background check, do a DMV check, make sure we can insure them, and then do it, send them for a drug test. Well, those drug tests used to be quick. Well, now that New York State legalized marijuana, it takes several more days to send it back out and go through this whole panel. So sometimes I feel we wait a week and a half to get those results back. And I've got a technician who's chomping at the bit, wanting to come, and I need them to come. And HR, that whole process slows us down. Yeah. So, it's very frustrating. We've gotten better because we've changed to a different third party doing it. However, sometimes there's not a sense of urgency for our fixed ops. I feel like, it's a technician. So if I don't get it in for the, MVR to come back for a couple days, that's okay. Well, no, I'm calling like every day, every few hours. Did you send it in? Do I have a result? What's going on? Yeah. So it's frustrating because I do feel HR sometimes, there's not a sense of urgency with fixed ops. And I think that should be the biggest sense of urgency.
Sure. And it's, another communication thing, and it's another moving piece. And this happens to us a lot too, where we've worked with the service manager, and that's our point of contact. And that's who we're trying to get on the same page with as far as what they're looking for in a candidate, and helping them get the candidate in. Hey, this is what this candidate's skill set is and how much they need to make. And then you get to the goal line, and here comes an HR person, and they have a whole other, okay, well, slow down. It's like we can't slow down. There's no slowing down with technicians. It doesn't work like that.
No, and I try to pre-screen them when I say, "How's your driving record?" We have to be able to insure you. So I try to set the expectation from the very beginning. How is your driving record? How is your background check? And I'm not as worried about some things, but there are other things that, listen, just be honest with me, because it's going to take me a lot longer to get you through, and maybe I need to wait 30 days, and that's okay. Just be honest and tell me so we can be transparent and get you through as quick as possible.
Right. And keep communicating with them. Like I said, this has become a huge part of my recruiters' jobs, is babysitting that probationary period, and getting the candidates to go too. I mean, that's a big problem, especially if they think there might be something that comes up. And again, like you said, you gotta be honest with me. Just tell me, what do you have going on, right?
Do you need 30 days? Do you need 2 weeks? What do you need? Because I'll work with you. Just be honest.
Yeah, right. And that is, and it was part of the reason I wanted to put that one on you, because we've worked in New York before. New York's tough. It's a little bit different. And the HR, I don't blame the HR managers in New York, because things are different. So you got to be very, very careful in what you say and what you do with candidates. But it is a piece of the puzzle. And like you said, just getting them to understand, I understand where you're coming from. here's the problem, and here's the need, and here's why this is maybe a little more important than some of the other positions that you're trying to get on
Yeah,
board.
in HR, sometimes like I feel, fixed ops, sometimes we're like the redheaded stepchildren.
You bet.
And there's got to be a sense of urgency, and there's got to be that let's treat them, the way we deserve to be treated, and get it through quickly and give us the attention we need and deserve.
Yep, you bet. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Mike Weldon, I'm coming to you, friend. You're in another legal marijuana state. What's how's that work for you guys out there? Do you guys test for it?
Laws that New York has to follow. So
right. That's something that comes up for us in California. And I mean, where are we at now? It's about 50% of all states now. Is it something that you guys even test for?
We really don't. We test for other things, but it's still part of the process. But we kind of don't look at it anymore.
Right.
And I got to tell you, I really enjoy coming on this forum because all the experts that are on here, I've learned so much over a period of time collaborating with everybody. But and we all kind of are in a league where we're trying to move to be on the forefront and retain people. And the first thing that comes to mind for me, we're doing this one word thing, and so I'll come with one word for this panel is relationship. I've lost very few technicians that I've built or I've tried to mentor my managers to build relationships with people and get on the same level where there's that effective communication. Just like the commentary has been onboarding, take them to lunch, make them feel part of something. Because, we spend a lot of time here and it's kind of fun, where you can walk into somebody's work area while they're working, they're willing to share what's going on, not only on the job, but they're willing to share themselves. And that, to me, that's fun because now I can connect with that individual so that that individual knows I'm sincere. And just, Tully mentioned earlier is that we lay it out. We tell you we've got a 4-tier process. We lay it out where we want you to go. And I'm sure most of us here do that. And Marco, by the way, it's just a beer. You can come to work for me anytime.
No, I got the Jag Land Rover stories coming here.
Yeah, I'll get you some Epsom salts if you get a little bit sore. We'll get you through it.
I'm sorry, guys, but a lot of it comes down to culture. The culture I have here is so enormous. I really have to thank my management that it's going to take a lot to pry me away from this store. So good luck, Joe. Good luck, Sean. And good luck, Mike.
There is a mandatory ceremony coming, Marco.
I would never even try, my friend. I would never even try.
And some of us have traveled from areas. Sean just got into a new area. But I'm still friends with a lot of technicians that I had when I was in the city or down in the South Bay. And they would probably come up here and I would hope that they would like to if they weren't located and established in another area, but I stay in contact with them because we truly built that relationship. But if they got any questions, I'll reach out and help them, or they'll reach out and help me. So, I can talk about this for hours, and it's tough. And it's tough getting we're not the largest company, but we're a large company. We've got over 700 employees, and you've got to do a good job in connecting with these people to retain that number and to grow your business.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up a great point. So you talk about relationships and all these little inefficiencies that I brought up that, of course, you would like to be cleaned up. And Ann brought up one that is kind of outside your control and you can do the best you can, but there's still going to be some slowdowns. There's still going to be some, hey, we still have this going or this still needs done. If you've built a relationship and if you've made a bond that in an interview, in a screening process, they're sold and they're bought in, and it won't matter. It'll overcome a lot of those inefficiencies if they feel good about you as a human being and feel like it doesn't matter. It could take them a month to get my drug test back. This is where I'm going eventually.
Yeah, we had a recent experience where somebody was going to onboard. They decided the timing in which they wanted to onboard, but we failed to stay in communication with them during that period of time. Therefore, they somewhat got cold feet.
Yeah.
And, a lot of work and energy went into, everybody here, I'm sure, puts a lot of work and energy into encouraging people to come. So you give a part of yourself and they give a part of themselves, and it's really deflating when you do that. So we work that much harder regardless what the employee is, and to everybody's point, I do it with anybody from a porter all the way up, because my today's porters are my tomorrow's techs.
Yeah. Absolutely. You bring up a great point of that, and I've said a few times, the communication and keeping in touch with someone. I've set up an automation workflow in our systems where if we have someone who's in a certain status of waiting for offer, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks until they're an actual hire, they're getting a text and an email just, hey, just checking in. Hope you're excited and see how you're doing. Just to hear from someone to make sure that they haven't just moved on. It's amazing with all the different points of communication we have these days. Sometimes you just whiff on all of them, and it absolutely makes a difference. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, Mike. Mm-hmm. And last and certainly not least,
I should bring up one point about
jump.
Sorry.
No, get in there. Go ahead.
About female technicians, as I've taken the Automotive Foundation and quite a few females at Independent. I keep tabs on them, going to how many there are in classes. Like on average, there's 1 to 3 going through to get their first, second, and third year. So I'd say it's a big thing, making sure that we're equipped to have female technicians in, that they, have a washroom and we're referring to them as the right gender, just so that they feel comfortable in that environment.
Sure.
I don't know if we have as many female technicians or more in Canada than in the States, but it is a career for females. So
Coralie, they are few as well. You bet. They are few and far between down here, and we certainly don't shy away from them when we're recruiting. And from our experiences, when we do place them somewhere, they do great. And we were talking about it in the world of advisors. I think before you kind of came into the waiting room, the female advisors that are in some of your guys' shops, they kill it. They do a tremendous job, and I think there's a huge opportunity there. But like you said, it has to be an environment where they feel like, okay, this is a comfortable place for me to be. I'm going to be treated with respect. I'm going to be treated like a team member, etc. Agree, 100%. Robert, I want to kick it over. Robert, I want to kick it over to Robert real quick, and then we'll kind of do a group, last thoughts here. Robert Migliaccio, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you.
What I know that was a lot that we just threw out there. What you guys are a relatively, mid to large size group as well. What goes on in your world when you finally have somebody that you like and you want to get them going?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're about 1,000 associates. I think 1,100 associates right now is what we're at. 23, almost 24 stores that we're working with. So, CMA does a great job. One of the things we do, and everybody's kind of spoke on it. Communication, having everything ready for the technicians. If we're basing this solely on the technician scale of what we're looking at and the things that are there, a lot of it is our onboarding process is set up very, very intricate, where we're all involved, from our HR level to our office level to our managers and the hiring managers. So we're all included in the emails, the text threads, and everything that's going on to make sure that person is brought in and has everything they need. Just our basis of how our HR onboarding packet is requires me to fill out all program sources they're going to need access to, computer accesses they'll need if they need a computer, if they need a phone. So everything they need is kind of check and point that we have to put in play before we even hire that employee and get them rolling. And that stuff is emailed to me, ready to go in a folder for a copy for him and a copy for me. So that way, quick turnaround. If he loses his paperwork, I'm able to get it for him and hand it right back out and kind of keep them going. One nice thing we do kind of in the onboarding process is everybody that comes in gets a little care package from the ownership. So they get, being that we're an ESOP company, they get a packet saying that they're a future owner. They get a wrist sleeve. They get a T-shirt. They get a welcome letter from Liza, our president, and her dad, who is a former president of the company. So there's some history there and some stuff that really kind of comes through. And just listen to everybody and what they're saying and whatnot. I think a big piece to all of that comes together to just being available and making yourself available to them. I think Sean said that greatly. Taking them out to lunch and stuff like that. you have to be available to these new members and making sure they're set up. Some of our newer staff, if they're a little in question on whether or not they're coming to the automotive industry from outside, we do a shadow day where we'll let them come in, spend a couple hours in the shop with the technicians, working with the people they're going to work with. They don't have to work. They're just there just to kind of get in there and see and talk and truly get the vibe of the culture that's going on there. And then we sit down and rehash everything at the end and, really kind of put it in and say, is this where you want to be? Is this what you want to do? Because we don't want turnaround at the end of the day. We want everybody in for the long haul. We want to put their career path on point and get them going. So it's definitely something that we focus on very strong here.
You used a great word there, intricate. And you just went through that process pretty quick. Attention to detail, those little things matter. Being that organized down to the just every cross your T's, dot your I's, that creates that feeling that I'm talking about.
Mhm.
It's like, oh man, these people have their stuff together. This is official. This is real. I got a packet here. Liza sent me, that stuff matters. The little details absolutely matter, and they create that feeling when you're bringing on a new team member.
100%.
Joe,
Okay.
I learned so much from this panel. I've taken so
Me
many
too.
notes. And Joe, you know what else is interesting is we're all learning from each other. Mike Weldon saying how much he's learned. Sean Kingery, same thing. And just to see the growth in this panel. Robert Miggs, who joined us when, Joe, maybe two roundtables ago. Robert,
This is your third, Robert? Second?
Yeah, this is my third. It was two shows ago. Yeah.
Just to look at Robert, okay, and all the things that he shared with us then, and that he's talking now, and just amazing stuff. I mean, what a panel! And Tully, you sit on a lot of panels as well. I don't think there's anything better than the one we're on right now.
High praise.
You got it right. I think that when people learn from each other, I think Mike said it spot on, Ted, is that we learn from each other, little tidbits, like Robert said, a little gift packet. I tell you, I'm taking that back. I think it'd be great that, Rick Nilo, a 100-year-old company, sends a person a note and a t-shirt. I mean, what a win that is. These little nuggets that we get from each other are what makes the Fix Ops Roundtable the best, Ted. I'm telling you.
And Tully, Nilo could do that. I mean, that's right up your alley. That's perfect.
Oh, wait, plan on that happening in February, my friend.
So I love it. Marco, look at what you've created here, what you've got started.
What did I tell you from the get-go, Ted? The industry needs this, peer to peer. And look what we did.
Joe, second to none. Great job on moderating and bringing out the best in everybody, Joe.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's always fun. Like I said, this isn't even work.
Joe, you work with a lot of groups around the country at AutoMax Recruiting. I know you're working with some of the groups that are here today as well. Joe, if our audience wants to reach out to you at AutoMax and find out what you can do to help them, what's the next step for them?
Yeah, sure. Our website is automaxrecruitingandtraining.com, the whole stinking thing. You can always find us easier on social media. I'm all over the place, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. Or you can just call me on my cell phone, 609-705-8646.
All right. Well, Joe, thank you for all you do for our industry. Great job with the panel. And Joe, just amazing, how it's getting better and better each and every time.
Agreed. Appreciate it.
Marco Zwanenberg, Sean Kingery, Sir Sean Kingery, Robert Miggs, Sir Tully Williams. We got a lot of sirs on here.
What do you have to do to get your knighthood? I'm curious. Is that just it comes with experience on the table, or
Cover of Fixed Ops Digital, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Fixed Ops Magazine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Tully, Fixed Ops Magazine, and that's no small feat, Tully. So
For sure.
You got that right, especially when it's the magazine that made it.
You are correct.
Mike Weldon, thank you so much for all you do. Great stuff as always. Ann Lister, wonderful stuff. Stay warm up there in New York State. Yeah, great to have you. And Coralie, welcome. Thank you so much. And thank you for being part of the panel. All right. The AutoMax TechVengers panel with Joe Lockhart here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.